Okay. Lush. Okay, so it's so nice to be here today. Good morning, everyone. This is our first Sparkle Call of January. I gave you all a little bit of time to arrive into January because I'm a huge fan of reflection, and I just feel it's such a good time to reflect. I'm always reflecting in my work anyway, but I feel like there's this huge push in January to do stuff and set goals and set words of the year and set intentions, and it's beautiful. But some of us, it creates a bit of a fizz in us, and we go, wait a minute, what do I do? Who am I in the world again? I need to kind of come back after the holiday. So I really wanted you to just have some time and absorb all the beauty that has been your Substack in 2023 and before that, if you were here before that. We will start the session with a little bit of reflection. I'm excited to dive into that. We're just introducing ourselves. If you're just coming into the call, you're so welcome to introduce yourself in the chat and say where you are. Cameras can be on or off, no problem. There will be some opportunity to speak if you want to, but you don't have to. We can use the chat box, whatever you'd like to do. Okay, good. So as we're arriving, I just wanted to ask you if you had a word or two about your Substack experience last year. So if you feel like you can articulate that in a word or two to reflect on how last year was for you, could you do that in the chat? I'd just be so interested just to get a bit of a cross section of who's here, and I'll just pop in and have a little look and see what you all say about that. Oh, lovely. I'm just checking. Oh, it's so nice to see everyone. Hi, everyone. Quite a lot of people from the UK and Europe. That's nice. Okay, so Amber says glowing. Louisa says roller coaster. That was mine too. Exciting. Okay, safe, nurturing space to express freely. Oh, how beautiful. I love that, Raj. Thank you. Refresh, that's a beautiful word. Thank you. Gathering, community, full of learning. Yeah, so there's a real, and I knew this would happen, beginnings, there's a real cross section, and we're all coming to Substack with slightly different experiences of what our online lives were like before, and slightly different expectations and intentions about what we want Substack to be. And I guess what I wanted to say to start with is that's all okay. So we can feel those things, we can observe how others are using Substack or not, we can quiet the noise, and then we can come back to ourselves. And that's what today is really all about. We're really just coming back to ourselves. So what I'm going to do first is I want to just read you a little quote, and then I'm going to put some music on, and we're going to do our first task, which is a reflections task. We've got some journaling to do together. Sometimes the sessions allow for a bit of working on our Substack, like physically going onto the Substack dashboard and doing bits of work. This one isn't like that. This is a journaling session and a collaborative session. So if you feel like you want to just kind of have us in the background and get some Substack work done, and you want to kind of bypass the planning, feel free, like we're here for you, but I'm not going to give us that window today. I'm going to read you a little piece from Writing Down the Bones. Does anyone have this book? It's my husband's, actually. It's really beautiful. So it's by Natalie Goldberg. Make sure I read that name back. So this is a section about loneliness. It's really short. I just wanted to put this out to you today. Use loneliness. Its ache creates urgency to reconnect with the world. Take that aching and use it to propel you deeper into your need for expression, to speak, to say who you are and how you care about light and rooms and lullabies. And I just thought it was so lush when I read that. I just opened it on this page this morning when I was looking for a section to read to you. And I thought that last bit was very Substack, light and rooms and lullabies. So yeah, set a bit of a tone for us today. Okay, so I'd like us to just take our papers and pens, and I've just, I like a big piece of paper. So this is my kind of Substack reflections book. It's nice and pink. And I've just put Substack the surprises, and I've given myself some lines to write about the surprises of Substack. I think we come to a platform with many expectations. We've been on the internet. We know what it's about. We know what it can be. We have a certain expectation in our body of how we might feel, when we're putting something out in the world, or we're waiting to press post, or we're waiting to receive feedback or comments. And I just want us to really go into the reflections around Substack surprises. So things that are surprising could be good or bad or indifferent. They could be shocking or beautiful or any other, I don't want to give you too much, but there could be anything. So I'll put some music on just because I want this to feel really upbeat in this section, and you can just do a little bit of journaling. Come on. He's a man of his own invention. She left that when she walked out the door. But she finally came and said what she's looking for. Something that I need to see. Something that I need to see. Something like I need something that Someone's just asking if everyone can go on mute.
I always put up chilly and then not pure.
Come on now. Hang on, guys.
You've got your favourite games?
See me.
We've got your favourite game.
Thanks, YouTube. Delightful of you in our reflective session. It was supposed to be like lovely, calm lakeside sounds anyway. We'll just do another minute on that. So my journaling has been very much just like a list of words, and we'll just have a bit of quiet time to just continue and just pull on any of those threads of surprise. Okay, I think everyone's muted, but let me know if not. Okay. Would anybody like to share either written in the chat and I'll read them out, or would anybody like to unmute and share some of the surprises? We'll just do a couple and then we'll get into some planning and visioning. But I can't see all of you on my screen, so if you want to chat, feel free. If you want to put it in the chat, feel free. Let me see if I can change my screen. You're so welcome if anybody wants to talk. Oh, so Ellie has raised their hand. Hi, Ellie. I'll just wait for Ellie. I don't know whether. Okay, I'll just read a couple of these out. What's going on with Zoom this morning? So Chelsea says, I've been really delighted by the collaborative spirit on Substack. Such a difference coming over from Instagram. Yeah, for sure. And this is what I was saying about expectation of being social on the internet. I'm not even going to say social media anymore because I don't know what that means. I really don't. Like, I'm completely lost in what social media is and isn't. And if Substack is that, I just think we're being social on the internet, aren't we? That's what it's about. We're making connections. But yeah, surprising for sure. I had something really similar in terms of that spaciousness and the friendliness that felt really genuine. It felt like a really genuine connect with folks in 2023. So yeah, appreciated that a lot. No, I couldn't hear Ellie. That was weird. No, I didn't. Oh, I don't know what's happened there. Antonia, do you want to try? If anyone is an expert on Zoom, I don't know what's happened. Whether very odd. Normally you can just hear people. I haven't got anything plugged in, so it should be fine. Antonio, you say no, it's not. No, I can't hear you. That's really weird. I don't know. We'll just use chat, and when we have a little tea break, I'll see if I can do something in the settings. I don't know why that is. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I did. Yeah, you're unmuted now, but it's still not coming through for me, and I've just got my laptop, so nothing plugged in, so I should be able to hear you. If anyone knows, put it in the chat. I've never had this happen before. Can I hear through my headphones? Oh, thank you for asking me to try that. Through my headphones. Oh, thank you for asking me to try that. When you put Zoom down for Christmas and then you kind of come back to it, there's always something, isn't there? Try now, Antonia, see if I can hear. No.
Can you hear that?
Oh, hi!
Oh.
Yay! Can everyone hear Antonia? Yay! Thank you, everyone.
Can we let
Come
Ellie
on.
go? I'm really conscious. Shall I let Ellie go first? Because Ellie was talking about
That'd be so
LinkedIn.
lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ellie,
Yes.
go.
Hi Claire, can you hear me
Hi,
now?
Ellie. Yes, thank you. Thanks for being patient. Sorry.
That's okay. Gremlins, Monday morning gremlins, I think Emma said. So I was just saying that because I come from the business world and coming into this creative space, the depth of thinking, the depth of connection, the depth is what surprised me about Substack, and I really absolutely love it, and I feel a lot more at home here because of the depth of everything, and I think that's been my main thing in because I started in August. So yeah.
Beautiful. So August 2023. So you've come over, notes is there, your posts are there, reading possibilities there, and then you've just kind of found your way around. Love it.
Yeah, it's
Thanks for
completely
sharing
different
that.
from anything I've done before, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, me too, me too. And so, Antonia, what was it that you were going to say to us?
The learning curve, and I think was it you that posted also Substack as a learning platform as well, as in there's so much generosity on there. I think people like Summer Brennan like doing their essay camps. I wasn't prepared for any of that, and it's almost like you could do an evening class most nights on the class, but so yeah, so that for me has been the thing. And it's not just about like, how to grow your Substack. It's about, the craft pieces, all those elements for me as well.
Yeah, there's a real generosity in people kind of spilling over and going, I might not have taken up space in teaching or any of that stuff before, but I'm a human in the world and I want to jump online and kind of be with the people that are connecting. When you did come over, Antonia, what did you think it was on Substack? What did you?
Okay, so I knew I came over for the community. I'd had like it's relatively sort of well-performing MailChimp newsletter. To point, because I'm in PR and marketing as well, I coach, I go into businesses, ask me to consult on their newsletters, etc. I thought it was shifting that over and then maybe going a little bit wider. I thought there might be a little bit to Riley's point, a little bit more depth, etc., a bit more connection, because so many people I admired were already on Substack. And I think also it's misleading, I think, to think that way as well. And some people had said to me, oh yeah, you just shift over your MailChimp and you're good to go. And it wasn't that at all. And it's worked out well for me because I also, I'm a published poet, all that sort of stuff. My writing is a huge part of my business. But if it wasn't, I would have felt like, have I done the right thing?
Okay.
Because of the work, because it's a real commitment.
Yeah. Yes. And where I'm at now going into 2024 is trying to ease people in that are still very nervous of setting up online spaces like this or newsletters and kind of go, you can just quiet those tools and use this one or these two. So it's really interesting hearing from you both from a business background and how you've come into it and how you're finding it and how you're navigating your way, because one of the things that cropped up for me when I was planning this session was I was sensing the general overwhelm of how people were feeling like there's notes, there's chat, there's posts. Now we can do video on podcasting. And should we be doing video on podcasting? What do we all do? So we'll get into that some more in the session. But I think Susie has a hand up. Hi, Susie. Did you mean to? Are you there?
Yes, I did.
Hi.
Thank you so much for creating this. It's brilliant. Yeah, I've just been blown away by I'm really surprised by the authenticity. So my background is magazines. And I've always craved that connection and the community. And when I was at psychology before this, trying to create this thing was so important to me, and it was really hard to do in a kind of a magazine format. But here, oh my goodness, and it feels completely real. And connection is one of my highest values. So for me, literally my hair standing on end every day. It's like amazing. I'm having all these, and then also everyone, you open your Substack and you've got all of these people from, I've started to paint, I've started to draw as well as write. It's just, I'm so surprised by the kind of, it's like having the Sunday papers, like we used to look forward to sitting down with the papers and reading all the bits and pieces every day. You can touch, except it's people you actually want to read. It's brilliant and discover. So for me, it's definitely the authenticity, the community building, and how genuine it all is. I hope it can stay like that rather than, it becoming a money-making thing. I know it is about money as well. It's really important, but at the heart of it, there seems to be some kind of genuine wanting to really connect. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's so true. And I definitely feel that reflected and have felt that since I started on the platform in April 22, where it was really, really hard to meet people and find other readers and find other connections, but it was possible. And now it's easier. But yeah, it's like you say, it's just all these light bulbs going off every day. It's really beautiful. And I think we've got something really special, and I want to harness that as we're doing our planning, because there's some things that we know because of what we're reflecting on our own experiences. And I know because I've been there since April 22. And there's some things that we don't know, and there's some things that we might start to see that we maybe don't like, or we didn't think were what was Substack was about. One of the things with Substack is once it started shifting, there was a huge snowball effect in terms of what it put out, the new tech features. It was just like bam, 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 bam. It was a thing for ages. And then it was like all these new things all at once. Every month there was a new thing that happened in the time I was using it. And so that's slowed now. And I think that was kind of a huge investment from them and their investors and how they wanted to see the platform realized. And then it sort of slowed down. So if you were there for some of that last year, you know, there was a bit of like, what's happening? What are we all becoming? What are we supposed to do? And it has slowed down, but they are very innovative as a company, and they are really good at listening. So if you suggest something, they usually, I've seen, change it. You know, if you want to see a change suggested, and that just happened yesterday, in the way that we can curate the app. When we open the app, we can curate it so that we see our inbox rather than seeing notes. So that's totally possible to do, which is lovely. Okay, so we'll do some more chatting in a bit, but I'll go through the chat as well, just so I get a sense of what you guys are saying, because this is all beautiful and valuable, but I want us to do the other bit of the workshop as well, make sure that we get to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into goal setting for 6 months. Okay, so this, yes, is a 5-year planning workshop, and I'll explain. But first of all, we're just going to look at 6 months. And if that feels absolutely terrifying and you don't want to do that until June, just do January, February, March. So we're already halfway through January. You've just got to do February and March. Okay, and you're going to split your paper into 4 like this. You put your goals the word goals in the middle, and 6 months. I'm going to put this in the chat, so don't worry. And so on the top left, this is how I've done it. I've got numerical. So numerical could mean anything. It could mean paid subscribers. It could mean free subscribers. It could be open rate. It could be views. You decide, just pick one. Don't pick more than one. Just get one numerical goal. The next one is intrinsic reward. So that is something that you would feel inside. You would feel this if this happened. So it's going to be you coming to your laptop and going, I feel connected, I feel celebrated, I feel in flow. So something like that. I'll go into it again. And then your extrinsic reward, which would be something that was given to you. So an accolade, an award, a bestseller badge, being in the top 25 for education or culture or health and well-being. So that's the next one. And then personal, I think someone's I'll just hang on, check the mutes. And then your personal. So this is going to be some journaling around what you want. So the stuff we were talking about attending classes, getting better at your writing craft, and that's on your terms, the way that you see it. Maybe starting a podcast, maybe starting some experimentations about what a podcast could be. Maybe something around escapism. You know, maybe you come into Substack under a pseudonym and you want just to escape and just write and just have that space. So I'll put these in chat. But the idea is that we're journaling everything out around 6 months or 3 months, you choose, and we're going to go into all of them and just see what comes out. And then we're going to revisit both of our pieces of journaling and just see where the points of connection are. So let me put them in chat, and if you've got questions, either shout out now or put it in chat. So yeah, Nina's saying she's just starting out, so thinking about the numbers might be hard. Yeah, I think it's just about what you think you would like. So how many people you would like to talk to, maybe go with that. Like if you're doing some writing there or sending a newsletter there, how many people would you like to talk to within a 6-month container, and just see if that brings anything out of your journaling. Okay, I'll keep an eye on the chat, but I'll go on mute. I'm going to give us a good 7 minutes for this one. Okay, so we'll start wrapping up. Just because someone's just come in, I'm just going to run through what we were doing and hopefully they'll catch up. So we were just reflecting on one potential numerical goal for 2024. One intrinsic reward, one extrinsic reward, and one personal goal in 2024 in the first 6 months. How did you guys find that? How did that feel doing that? If anyone wants to talk, feel free. If not, pop it in the chat. I'll read a couple out. Okay, great, Chelsea. So extrinsic, love to hit bestseller badge, at least make it quite close by June, which would mean gaining about 10 new paid subscribers per month until then. Intrinsic addition to the more resource advice driven regular content I'm providing. I want to promise myself that I'll also continue to grow my own writing practice by publishing one essay each month. Yeah, so there's a lovely balance there in that, like, that would be great if it happened, and that feels like it would be really memorable and feel like a really nice thing to celebrate, but also working towards that is going to be a really nice time. I love that. That's really good. Thank you. Subscribers for the bestseller badge, 100 paid subscribers. However, if people join on a coupon or a free trial, they're counted. So if you have, say, like 20 people on a free trial, Substack sort of balance it out and go, oh, well, like, let's see how that's going to pan out for you. So when I hit it, I think I'd only just hit 100 across both of my publications, and there were a few people on coupons who then obviously I was like, oh, they'll all just disappear, and actually it didn't work that way. Like, more people came. I think the accolade of getting a bestseller badge is recognized. People go, oh, well, she must know what she's talking about then. I'll go and have a little look. So yeah, it is, I don't know, say what you want, but I loved it. I mean, loads of people are like, oh, I don't like that there's a checkbox system and all that. I loved it. I was like, oh, thanks very much. This feels really nice. So yeah, if you want to have that goal for yourself, have that goal for yourself. It's gorgeous. But yes, use your coupons, use your free trials, and make sure that you're kind of working within that framework as well, because Substack do. So they reward you for doing that. That's what it's about. It's not just about the money side of things. Lovely. Okay, small extra embodied paid membership. Love to have 20 new members by June. That's nice, Eve. Yeah, 20. So Ellie says, intrinsic, feeling pride that my creativity and a voice is valued. Yes. How will you know if you feel that? Will you just feel that? You'll just know. So Louisa says, I'm going for 10K plus 30-day views on numerical goal, which I've managed before, so should be able to do again, and gets me away from worrying about subscriber numbers. Yeah, so my numerical goal was similar. So mine is 25,000 views a month in three times in that 6-month period. So for me, when I've hit numerical goals, whether they've been around paid subscribers, free subscribers, or when it sort of shows you the dollars in your dashboard, it just sends me into a bit of a flat spin because I don't know what I'm supposed to feel when another number's hit. Like, whereas if I think about views, I think about people receiving my words, and that feels amazing. That feels like, wow, those people received my words, some of them commented, and I feel like it's a tangible thing for me. Whereas I think those other numbers, they just make less sense because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to feel. It's like, okay, great, that's good, it's going up, but I need to feel more than that. I need to feel connection. It's, it's there within my values. So yeah, thanks for that, Louisa. That's perfect. Spaciousness, yeah, I've written that as well. Spaciousness is in there. 30 paid subscribers. Extrinsic would like to be recommended by other Substackers. Kate, yes. So on recommendations, that is a massive tool for connection. It's like my favorite tool to use. You start your Substack, you get your head around Substack, you go straight to recommendations, and then you do that every single month. Head to recommendations, see who you've been reading, see who you want to recommend, write a blurb for someone. I've just written about it on Friday, if you caught Friday's email. It's just a beautiful thing to do, and it's that gorgeous spirit of reciprocity. Thank you, my words today. Yes to more recommendations. That's beautiful. Okay, good. So when you were writing some of this stuff out, were there any of the same words or any of the same language that popped up in your surprises journaling? So for example, when I thought about roller coaster, which I'd written in surprises, I kind of put that in, but in a new way. So I don't want to feel so much of that up and down energy, but I do want to feel expansive. So I kind of shifted into the more the more flowing sense of like, how will that feel in a really positive way, because the roller coaster kind of set me on edge a couple of times last year. I also used the word propelled in my surprises, and actually it's more about being guided. I feel like internally guided to do the work that I do, and this propelling sometimes is that, but it's sometimes a bit of comparison, if I'm honest, like, oh, I better do this, or I should do that, or I want to make sure everybody feels like I'm being generous and talking to other Substack educators and that stuff. And some of that was propelled, and it was sort of okay, but I need to be really mindful about that, because I've only got so many hours in a week, and it sends the energy of my space into a new realm, which is great and good, but it is a new realm, and I've got to then manage that energy. I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't, I can unpack that more. So we're going to take a different color pen than the one you've been using, if you've got one. And I just want you to look over both pieces of journaling that you've done and just circle some of the words that really, really stand out about you and your Substack. We're going to keep it mainly positive. So if there's anything in shadow, so if there's anything you're worried about or anything that felt hard or difficult, just put a little dot next to it, but use the circles to kind of propel yourself into this place of like, okay, I've got a handle on it. So all the words that stand out the most. So you might end up with a lot circled. You might just have one or two. Do what feels right to you. You can't do it wrong. It's your work. So go for that. We'll just have about 2-3 minutes on that. Okay, so was there anything in that was helpful for guiding you through where you might like to go next? And we'll go into the 5 years. So we're going to make some space to really vision and really think about what's possible. But was there something, a word or a statement coming through to you from that work? So mine was around feeling content in my community. And in that is really about me coming to Substack for the people that I serve, which I've always done, but it's distracting. There is a lot of distraction. There is a lot of beautiful writing. There are a lot of people saying there's a video here, there's a podcast there, there's a note here, there's a community chat here. So yeah, that's what came out for me. Staying content within showing up for my community. Thanks for sharing all these, guys. It's amazing. So expansive and possibility. Organic growth with clarity. Claire says connected, positive, and grow were the words that kept coming up for me. Yeah, positive's good. Connection, support, we're all over the place. Yeah, yeah. Working with focus on objectives while building with ease and fun, avoiding overwhelm. Yeah, I think overwhelm's coming a lot for people, up a lot for people at the moment. And we can spend some time in that because it's coming from a few places. It's coming from what we know about social media and what we know happens on social media based spaces, all the ones that aren't Substack, and then the social media-esque things that are happening on Substack and are there for us. So yeah, it affects our decision making because it affects our nervous system, right? So in order to stay true to ourselves and our Substacks and that journey, we have to kind of create first and quiet the noise. So it's that whole kind of create before you consume intention. And we've all got different tolerance levels with that. But I think that the more noisy a space becomes and the more people try and put other people's work in front of you, the harder it is. So we've got to be quite strict with ourselves if we want to stay true to our goals. Louise says, sharing, savouring, guiding, talking, conversational, receiving, responsive. Lovely. Perfect. Okay, brilliant. So to go into some visioning for what's possible within 5 years, there are some unknowns. There are unknowns about us. There are unknowns about Substack, but there are also some knowns. So we know how we work across a year. You know, we've been showing up to our work for however many years we've been doing it. We know when we might want to take downtime, holidays. We know when we might want to work seasonally or within our own season. So we do know those things. And here in winter, this is why I think winter is a great time for planning. Everything is stripped back and bare, and so everything is possible, but right here and now it's a good time for listening and really like honing in to what it is that we want to do and what we think is possible for ourselves, not for anybody else. There are always going to be surprises along the way. We've definitely proven that. We've seen it happen for others. And that's all okay. And I guess where we're going is what we want to hone into in terms of that 5-year container. So we've done 6 months. If you look at your 6-month page, could you literally double that? And so double that in terms of like enhance those feelings, like bring them up a notch, double it in terms of the numerical goal within a year. Would you be satisfied if we were sat here this time next year, so January 2025, and all of that was still true about the intrinsic reward, the extrinsic reward, the personal stuff and your numerical stuff, or would you be disappointed? Ask yourself that. That is the first place to go. So we're just looking at this time next year. If you doubled what you'd said, would you feel content, happy, excited, disappointed? Where does it sit? Let me know in the chat. Eve says she'd be delighted. Happy, yes. Andrea says yes. Happy, good. Okay. Thrilled. Louise is going to be thrilled. This is good. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I think I need to up my goals. Right, Deirdre, get that. So that's the measure, isn't it? So sometimes we set ourselves maybe something that's like, we haven't maybe had enough experience to know if that's the right position for us, or maybe we are coming to this work a little bit guarded, and that's okay. You know, it's okay to be guarded, but if we're selling ourselves short or we don't think things are possible, we maybe just need to do a little bit more reflection. The only way to do reflection is to do the work first, right? So you could do that at the end of this month, at the end of the next month, at the end of the chapter, you know, January through to March, see how you feel. Bestseller badge is definitely a goal. Kate says she'd be happy. Okay, all right. Okay, So imagine we now put all of that in the fire. Don't do this if you've got a fire, you can later, but don't do it yet because we're going to refer back to it. But we're just going to get rid of all of that. And then we're going to go fast forward 5 years. Somebody help me with the maths. 2029. 2029. Is that right? We're sat here. It's January. What does the view look like? What do we feel in our hearts? What do we know is true about ourselves? What do we know is true about our Substack experience and everything that has rippled out from that? What is that? 2029, 5 years. How old will you be? What will be different? What will be the same? Will you have shown up every single month, you know, to the best of your ability? Will you have shown up every single week? Will you have shown up every single day? What feels like it could be true in 2025? I'm going to go with visual journaling for this because it'll be a far easier way in. So I'll literally just take some colours and I'm just going to draw and write all over a double page spread. And then I'm going to see where I end up. I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys and see what happens.
I chose Wix for my business because of its
Okay, guys, so we're going to come back together. Hopefully you managed to vision something out. It's not easy to do this work. That's the first thing that I want to say. Sometimes it just makes us feel a bit like, and so the reason we're doing it together is to share in that collective visioning and overwhelm and the shadow sides and everything that comes up within holding a container for ourselves for 5 years. The big thing about planning and visioning is we need it to be embodied and grounded in what we do and who we are. We can't look at what somebody else is doing and go, oh, well, that looks good, I'll go for that then. There's going to be so many things to trip you up along the way, so you have to vision for yourself. And so I'll share what I did and what's come up this morning. In preparation for this work, I went on Substack this morning and had a look at the leaderboards. I just thought this would be a really interesting thing for me, because within my notes network, it tends to be like you guys that I chat to. So there's a whole world on Substack of other writers and other creators and other people that talk about things that I've got no interest in, that I wanted to just see this morning. So I had a look at that. And one of the phrases that stood out was hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And in my body, I was like, oh, well, that won't be me. I can't do that. And I was like, oh, but can I? And so that was really interesting to go into as part of this exercise. Okay, has anyone got anything to share? Feel free to talk, to share in the chat. Do you want me to go first? I'm really happy to. I'm honestly an open book about this stuff.
I'm happy to voice mine.
Yes, Amber, come on in. Let us know where you went.
Thank you. I didn't have any coloured pens accessible. Mine just came out in lots of statements, like affirmations, which I enjoyed. So I just rolled with what came through intuitively. So I wrote, I've made it. My audience is global, reaching all continents of the world. People can see what I can see. One of my biggest frustrations that people can't see what I can see, but I'm here to teach and educate and show that. My teachings translate all over the world. My tribe is established. My books are selling. My business is booming. Online Journey, The Warrior's Path, is a group global offering. I am working in teams, in partnership and in collaboration with others to make this happen. I am bestseller. The energy vibration is high. Healing is happening. People are cheering. My communications are read, digested and understood. Healing activations, downloads, paradigm shifts are received and experienced by the many. Space is held. People are seen. Work is easy. Life is easy. Organic growth, full self-expression, free to be me, alignment all the way.
Wow. Did anyone else have proper tingles? I was literally like, I just feel like so pleased to know Amber. Like, I've known Amber for years. Like, we know each other in real life. Like, we don't live near each other, but we just know each other. So to hear Amber articulate things like this is just like, it just blows my mind. I adore it. I love the clarity of some of those statements, and I know that they are within you and you work with those a lot as a practice. So for me, it was really beautiful to hear the clarity coming through, and also that mention of balance, like ease. Life is easy, work is easy. Sometimes with goal setting, we're going to kind of set ourselves up to go, oh, to just push, and we've got to just do, and we've got to just show up outside of the comfort zone. Those are all fine and great in a masculine world. And by masculine, I mean sacred masculine. So we're balancing out sacred masculine, sacred feminine all the time, no matter what our gender. So I don't want anyone to feel that this exercise is about pushing or knowing or the black and white. This is about expansive visioning and connecting to some of that kind of truth about who we are in the world and who we are going to be enabled to be, hopefully, with creative enthusiasm in Substack and with Substack as an engine. Thank you so much, Amber. Okay, so I'm going to just read Chelsea. So Chelsea said, this really clarified how much I want to be organising in-person tarot-led creativity retreats, and that I need to position my work on Substack as beyond an eventual funnel for those experiences. It's scary, and I've been avoiding committing to it as a real vision. But if I got to 2029 and I hadn't made it happen, I'd be gutted. So I've got to be working with that in mind, not just some future incidental maybe outcome. Yeah. So that's the purposeful, right? So that's the, okay, what is the first baby step towards a retreat, an in-person retreat? What does that look like? Does it look like going to the venue yourself and hanging out there? Does it look like going there and inviting somebody else to work with you there? Does it look like loads of research online? Does it look like a vision board? Does it look like 10 steps and ticking them all off over 6 months? Like, that's the work that we have to do. to go into that first baby step, because from that the enthusiasm comes, and then we kind of figure out the rest of the steps, don't we? Also, you know, it's Substack, it's friendly, it's generous. Somebody else is running retreats, ask them how they did it, ask them what lessons they have, like if they've got anything to share, they might do a quick Zoom with you. Beautiful. So Andrea said, help me realize that there are ideas I'd love to implement sooner rather than later, and it will help me to realize ideas both within and outside of my Substack. Yeah, so Substack is a vehicle, you know, it's a creative engine for culture. And I always say this, that I feel with over 20 years experience in the cultural sector, that is the very best vehicle I have ever seen for a mixed media way of being for us. You know, it's so easy to use in comparison to other spaces, and it's easy to meet people and grow our publications. It's a true gift. Okay, Ellie, yeah, so there's a little bit of a pause in all of that you're going through, and that's absolutely fine. We're just going to hold you in all of our thoughts and prayers, and then when you're ready to come back to this work, let me know when you feel ready and you feel like it's your time, and we'll do something together in that. Perfect. Okay, so just to make sure that we've got hold of the things that might trip us up within this visioning work, let me know in the chat what came up around the shadow side. So the can't, I couldn't possibly, I definitely can't take up space like that, the overwhelm, stagnation, lack of self-belief. Like, what are the things that come up for you guys when we're doing this work? What is that voice that tells you, no, definitely not, you couldn't, you'll burn out, or you're not good enough, you're not sophisticated enough, it won't happen? What's that stuff that's coming out? Oh, Louise is saying go back 5 years ago and see how much has changed in that time. Yeah, for sure. I did that as well this morning, but I just went back for a year. And I couldn't believe what I'd written this time last year, like how much has changed and shifted in me. And I think we do have years like that. And this is why it's really cool to look at 5 years, because some years we're just, you know, plugging away, cracking on, everything's fine. And other years it's like paradigm shift territory, roller coaster, let me off, what do I do? You know, and that was my last year. It was insane. So in the best way, but yeah, it was a lot. And I don't think I'll have another one like that this year. I think that was last year, and maybe it'll be in another 3. We'll see. Okay, so Amber saying no shadow side. Okay, perfect. I mean, can you do a workshop, Amber? Please, on how to get through. I've just constantly got that like, Some of it for me, and I know this is because I've taken time off co-creation for Christmas. So Christmas time is downtime. January is a slow start. So I've been out of co-creation, and co-creation is my practice, and co-creation quiets the noise of comparison for me. It's just the way it is. Okay.
I was just writing there, Claire, though. It's been a super massive and traumatic lesson for me to learn, and very painful over the recent years, as you know, in the lessons around slowing down. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to learn in my life. And it's taken me years. I might sit with that idea of a workshop, but it has been a very painful process to get this far, but one that I've never given up on. And something that helps me now is really going at snail's pace. I mean, as you know, it's had to be snail's pace, baby steps, tiny steps. It has been for the last 5.5 years. It still is. I can't see that changing. And only now, after these kind of several years, I'm easing into a place of like, yeah, this is the way it is. This is the way it has to be. This is the way I feel at ease. This is where my clarity comes from, and I can lean into that and go with the flow of things a bit more. But yeah, as you know, it has been pretty painful to get from where I was to where I am now, and now I am in a very different space.
It's amazing to hear you speak about that and holding that kind of knowledge of what that felt like within that time, and then being even, I don't want to say strict, but I can't think of a better word to say, this is my practice. More aligned, I think, is like, this is my practice. This is the only way it can be. It's like affirmation led, isn't it? In terms of there's no frustration there. Like, you're just like, this is my practice, right? Yeah. Lush. Okay. You don't deserve pleasure. Okay, interesting, Eve. So it has to be hard. It has to be round the clock. You don't deserve pleasure. Interesting. So this is always really interesting to me because the last time I lived in a city was like 10 years ago and it was only Newcastle. So, you know, it's not like a massive city with like a huge driver, but there's definitely an energy, like I'm going back there tomorrow. There'll be an energy that comes with that visit and through me that's like, oh, this is what you do. And actually, like, you know, right here in Northumberland with my view of the sea and my kind of endless cups of tea with my husband, you know, working life around the kids, it's just very different. So I forget. So sometimes it'll be something in our mind's eye or something in our view that is telling us something different to how we feel internally and who we're actually meant to be. So just see if you can work out if it's that, if it's something in your view or something from your past. Yeah, amazing. So if you're saying I definitely struggle with self-doubt and confidence, generally swinging between enthusiasm and excitement and pure fear these days. Yeah. So oftentimes, you know, it's just sitting with that. You know, they say, don't they, you know, there's no greater fear than fear itself. It's like fear's horrible. Like when you meditate and those feelings come over you and you sit with them, you go through, you know, but in trying to sort of avoid them in all the ways that we might and trying to distract ourselves, we're only just quieting them down temporarily. So meditation is key, I would say. Okay, I want to read all of these, but I feel like I want to read you something first and then I'll see who wants to hang around because I do want to finish on time. So I've got something else to read you from How to Own the Room. Does anyone know this book? Viv Groskop. She's great on podcasts. I really, really like her. And I wanted to read this little section to you because I thought it would be really apt for what we're doing today. So it's from page 22 if anyone's got the book. And she says, saying yes to speaking opportunities and creating them for yourself has been called innocuous training. The more you do it, the more you protect yourself, the less affected you are by dis-ease. Susan Cain has said that she spent a year practicing public speaking every chance I got in the run-up to publication of her book, which was accompanied by her TED Talk. She's very aware of the painful irony of giving speeches about what it's like to be introverted. Her message is, if I can do it, anyone can. And we hear you, Susan. This book is incredible and this book changed my life. So I'm a massive fan of self-development. I got this book when I would be like physically waking up terrified about doing presentations in rooms full of counsellors at the time, quite a few years ago now. Maybe it was about 2016, 17. And literally the book changed everything. Well, the book and the exercises in it. So if you have any of the fear-based stuff bubbling up, get this book, read this book, talk to the community within Sparkle, because it really gives you that baseline for what's going on for you and why, and it helps you to track back to some early experiences that you can heal from. It's really good. Okay, so going into the next little bit of what we're doing together this morning, and then we'll finish really soon. I'll do questions at the end if anyone wants to stay around for general Substack questions or chat. I'm here. We've jumped around a bit between reflection, a 6-month Substack plan, thinking about all of the different things that we did, and then this 10-year Substack vision. Always within a space, there are things to trip us up, there are surprises, there are things that we didn't expect, and there are things that we can control. So on the other side, you know, we have got full control over when we post, who we collaborate with, what imagery we use, the direction that we're headed. And there are things that might trip us up, or there might be things getting in our way. So I just wanted to give that to you as a kind of toolkit, really. Some of you have already got this. This is the planner that I created. So it's full of inspirational planning tools and gorgeous little grids and things that you can work out about your Substack and the people that come to it. So I got mine printed in A4 so that I could work through it this year, but it's available to you all. There's a small charge for it, but it is available if you want to use it. But what it basically is a reflection tool and expansion tool. So we reflect and then we make plans. We reflect and then we make plans. We quiet the noise, we reflect, we make plans. And it's just that. It's that creative practice for you and taking time and space to look at that. So Substack is very generous in that it gives us a dashboard and it gives us a world map. We get to see that we are reaching people all over the world, you know, and that is a beautiful thing, isn't it? It's certainly been very healing for me to hear people enchanted by my Northeast accent all the way in Australia. So within that dashboard, you might want to note some of those things down. You might want to reflect on that. You might want to never look at it and give yourself some time just to craft and just to write, but decide what that is for you for this next little while, for this next 6 months. And we'll check in again in the Sparkle community within 6 months so that we can see how accurate we were or where we were with all of that work right here and now versus June time. So we'll come back to it. Give yourself 1 statement and 3 actions to finish up. I'll put this in the chat as well, and we'll go ahead and do them. So this could be a statement or an affirmation. Okay, I've put mine in the chat for you. So if you want to put yours in as well. And then this is just so we all see each other really. I'll not read them out, but feel free to go in and read. And then if anyone's got any general Substack questions, if you feel stuck on anything, obviously it's been a little while, so I just wanted to open the floor just to kind of switch into that mode of like, I'm not sure about this, or I don't know how to do this, and either I can help you here and now, or I'll have a resource, or I'll have somewhere else to send you. So let me know. Just unmute and talk. That's totally fine for this. If you don't want to, you can put it in the chat, but yeah, feel free. And we'll just do that. If you need to go, have you got other things to do, that's all good. But if you want to ask anything about Substack or this process, feel free. I would love to share some of these in a post, but I'll just anonymize them so that you know they're not related to anybody. I think that's probably the easiest way to go.
Hi Claire, I've got a quick question. Am I allowed to ask one now?
Of course, yeah. I don't know your name because it just says making words come alive.
Oh yeah, sorry, I need to change that. That's
come
from
alive.
years
No,
ago.
it's all good. It's like
it's Claire Winter. Sorry.
Oh, Claire, hi.
I normally change it. So yeah. Hello. It's just a quick one. I've opened paid subscriptions.
Well done.
And I have a few, which is nice.
Yeah.
So but what I've got is someone's pledged less than I asked for.
Okay.
Does that happen? It's fine. I'm absolutely cool with it. I just didn't know that was even a thing.
There must be a button. You can allow it with founding members, but I didn't have pledges on either of mine, so I'm not sure. But yeah, there must be a button you can check or uncheck in your settings where people have pledged less. I mean, it won't happen now because you've got paid on. So I mean, are you comfortable with them paying that amount? Is that okay?
Yeah. I set it higher than I set it at £20 a month because I had an existing membership that was actually
we chatted about it, didn't
£30
we?
a month.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to drop it. So I did 20 a month, 200 for the year, and 250 for a founding member, but they get a bit of 4 quarterly sessions with me in addition.
Mm-hmm.
I just just hit send. I didn't really think about it, and then I've just looked in my email and someone's pledged £10 a month. I was like, I don't even know, like I'm like, what have I done wrong?
I think that's okay. Yeah, so maybe when you had it as pledges and not paid, maybe you had a tick box to say people could pledge less, but just go into your
I mean,
settings.
maybe I've done it that they can pledge. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
delighted that anyone wants to give me money on Substack
Oh,
right
that's
now.
it is fabulous. I mean, obviously factor in that Substack take 10% and Stripe fees and all that. So like that takes about 15% off what you're seeing. But yeah, I mean, I think going forward, you could just have a statement to say that, you know, there'll be something in terms of a pay it forward model. So everybody that's paying is helping like discount a space or something like that. So if somebody else wants to ask for that in the future, like if that's something that you want to do wholeheartedly, you could do it that way
Yeah, I
round.
mean, I've always gifted on any of my writing programs. I've always gifted one. I'd like to continue a scholarship process.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. Like,
I think
it's
just
part of
write that statement
why.
up, because it gives that identity to your Substack home as well. You know, if you have that written up and you have that at the footer of your page or at the footer of your emails, then people know, like, and they feel welcome. And it's all
and
about
just put an
enabling
email
people to feel
to
welcome.
apply, or like a Google form or something.
Yeah, just just keep it easy and just say you can email me. That's what I do, and people do now and again. I probably get, like, just to keep it realistic, I'll probably get about one a month where someone says, I can't afford to pay, could I have access? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, there you go. So
yeah, I mean, I would be the same. Like, anyone who's brave enough to ask gets
for sure.
access.
For sure. Often they'll say, oh, do I have to have some proof or something? I'm like, no, the ask's enough. It's enough.
God,
there
no,
you go.
I would
Yeah.
never do that.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, so
That's really useful.
I think just make it make it a positive of how you've set that space up, because sometimes when we're figuring things out, things don't work the way we thought they would, but we can always sort of go, oh, it's fine. It'll all be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just rolling with it, but it just really surprised me. I was like, oh, I had someone pay in euros, so I've had all sorts of things. It's been really fun.
Yeah, sometimes with the exchange rates, you end up with more through Stripe than you've set out as well. So there's all of that, which is like, oh, okay, but I feel bad for those people because they've paid like sometimes $3 more than I've set it at. So
yeah, I mean, I think I'm just rolling with it as a joyful experiment and just see where
a joyful experiment. I love that. It is. I'm always saying test and adjust, see what works, see what lands. You know, even yesterday's post, because I'd put so much into it in terms of people said, oh, can you do a recap? Can you do a reminder of all your posts? But because I did that, hardly anybody commented, and I was like prepared to like answer comments in the afternoon. It was like, oh, nobody's really around. So it's dead interesting. Yeah. And it's changing all the time. Obviously, there's more distraction now than there was. So holding what our community is and holding that spaciousness is really important. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I didn't understand threads, but someone, I think it was Sarah Faye,
Fay's just done a really helpful video.
So I am really new to this. So I am, like I said,
please know, that it's really confusing. I was just on to a friend, Laura. I think she was on the call. She might still be here. And she was WhatsApping me going, right, where is a thread, not a chat? Which one? And it's bonkers. It is bonkers because they use threads twice and they don't mean it. They mean chat, and chat is really the app, but it's also accessible on the desktop, and then there's threads. So yeah, Sarah Faye's video is really good. It will be really good. I've not watched it, but I know it'll be really good.
Yeah. So I guess that's what I'm. So I will accept all subscribers, obviously, and I will add that. That's actually that sort of giving back. Literally will make my week, especially on, I think it's Blue Monday today. Just to put that out.
And with your subscribers, if they have come over from your other work, you don't have to explain all of these facets of Substack to them. Don't feel like it's your job to do that, because you can still hold them in exactly the same way as you were holding them before. Like people think, oh, well, I better do a chat, and I better sort of tag them in notes and stuff like that. You can grow into that, of course, but also that just becomes like another space to distract us.
People want a clean space for what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. And it can work really well. Like Beth Kempton's just done it beautifully with Winter Writing Sanctuary and brought lots of new people over, and like lots of ways where she's articulated the platform. But I do think people can get very overwhelmed and nervous about what are the you know, because if it's personal shares, like who sees that and where is it and what happens? So yeah, it's good to think about that stuff, isn't it?
All right, thank you, and I'll change my name next time.
Oh yeah, no, all good, brilliant, thank you. Anybody else got questions about Substack generally, paid subs, anything for me personally, anything at all you're thinking about? Feel free to jump in and ask. Is it all going all right for you all? I'm just settling back in, really.
Hear me okay?
Yes, hi. Hi, Mika, hi.
So my question was like, when I was doing my journaling exercise, what was really interesting that came out was that at the moment, I feel like I'm going really gung-ho because it's a new platform that I'm really interested in. But what was interesting when I got to the 5-year, it was a lot more to do with community and going slower. I was wondering if you could point me into some resources that talk about community building, because that seems to be kind of like a big thing that kind of came up with my journaling.
Yeah, for sure. So it was around about summertime last year when Substack made the shift themselves and started talking about Substack community. So by that, they were talking about the paid comments, the comments from free subscribers, the way we were holding our subscribers. When I first started writing on Substack, nobody was doing Zoom videos behind a paywall. Like, it was just writing. So it was writing in comments and that kind of exchange that went on within conversation in the comments. And now we're holding communities in lots of different and unique ways. And so it's really about what feels good to us. When I was setting up Sparkle, I wanted it to be a community where no matter what time of the day or night it was in someone's country, they could find support within the Sparkle community. So that was kind of my vision for setting it up, which has meant that I have opened various different portals and ways for people to connect with me and the community. So that's felt really important. It hasn't felt overexposing or difficult or like a runaway train at any point. It's just felt busy, like nicely busy. Other people hold really small, like circle-based communities. They might do that once a season. They might open up like a thread for paid subscribers and talk about something really personal, something deeply personal to them, something that they think is going to resonate with their subscribers. And one of the comments I've had from other Substack creators is that it's really interesting to see how open people will be in the comments. So I think it's really interesting, and I think it's really, it's really about the tone that you set for your online home. I'll send you an article, Mika, that or you could have a little search for it if you know how to use Substack. So there's a joint post between Erica Perry and Kat River, and they talk about there's a guided meditation piece about creating your Substack home and like a safe space for people to land and a place that they can identify as like, yes, this is for me. And I think that really helps with building community. Yeah, and I guess these communities, you know, they dip in and dip out, don't they? So I do these 2 calls a month and we're together, but then there'll be other posts and stuff where you'll see the same names and people will kind of be there, and then some people maybe, you know, will move on. So it's setting that expectation, is it, for how long you want to hold people for and how deep you want to go with your work, but it's definitely possible.
Cool, thank you so much.
Does that help?
That's awesome.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
Lovely. Okay. Any other questions? Honestly, feel free. Anything Substacky, anything visiony, anything you're worried about, anything you just feel like, how does everyone know that and I don't? You're so welcome to ask. Anything around expectations of you, the platform, your paid subscribers, how many, you know, all that stuff. I'm open to it. Just let me know if there's anything. If not, then we'll wrap up.
Hi, Claire.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi. I probably have like so many questions, so I'll just keep it like more
No,
succinct.
honestly, go for it. I've got time. I really want this to feel spacious. Like, I've got time. If people need to go, they can go, but I've got time. So feel free.
Well, I think, well, firstly, like, thank you, because I think, doing this work's just been really, like, especially after the last workshop, I was like, something's like clicked, and I've actually kind of scrapped everything that was on my Substack, but I have like a new vision for the new year.
Okay.
And it's feeling really clear, and it's actually an idea I've had for years, and it's like, oh, actually, I could make this work on Substack. So I'm feeling like really excited by it, and I'm going to just like, make it happen.
Yay.
I guess One thing I was like, just be interested in your advice on like next steps. I feel like I'm still not like really involved in the actual Substack community. I feel like I've very much been using it as this, I got my audience elsewhere and I'm like, oh, I want to try this and I want to bring people over. But I just actually want to set some goals around being like, okay, how do I just like, yeah, I need to also just like get involved, because I feel like I'm doing that thing where I'm like still lurking quite a lot, apart from here where I show up on these calls. But I feel like I'm still kind of really overwhelmed with like, yeah, how to just sort of get involved. I guess the answer is just do it, comment on people's posts and show up.
Well,
Just
I mean,
wondered if you had any like,
or you could just make a really mindful strategic connects, so if there was a person that you were really kind of compelled to connect with and you really loved their work, like send them an email and say, I really loved this post and like it really resonated with me and I write about this stuff over here. I was wondering, would you like to do this? Or maybe it's not even that yet. Maybe it's just, maybe just a bit of practice connection and then see what grows from that. So when I started thinking about the podcast, I was really like, well, it can be anyone, it can be anyone. Everyone's got brilliant things to say about Substack. And that was great for a while. And then now it's like, no, put that down and then see what else grows from that. Because I feel like if I'm asking people to listen and they're listening for over an hour usually, I want to give them like the very best creative approaches to Substack that are happening, so I feel like I need some time around that and some time to just not be interviewing anyone any which way anytime. So sometimes it's like a mindful connect, and then other times, if it feels nice to hang out on notes and see if anybody's written anything that speaks to you, and maybe just do that at a time you wouldn't be ordinarily writing your Substacks or connecting with your own community. So maybe that's like a Sunday morning. Oh, I'll have a little scroll of notes and see who's on there and what people are saying, and you can just kind of join in the chit chats there. I guess it's what you want your publication to be, and obviously I don't know about that vision, but for me, I've gone into this space of like a beautifully curated magazine. So that's the language I'm using with the founding members that I'm working with on my group program, because I really see Creatively Conscious as a magazine that you would want to pick up, like a digital magazine. So there's something in that for me around, well, who else is part of that magazine? And it's a real intention, where I'm like, okay, I'm asking myself, but I also have some ideas already because I've done a bit of that testing last year. I did quite a few guest posts on my own publication with that one. So is there anything in that feels nice to do?
Yeah, definitely things around guest posts could work. Yeah. And I guess also just that thing of, I think I still feel like, when you don't want to be that intruder in other people's conversations because they're already having those chats and everyone's kind of got their people who they're talking to. And sometimes you feel like you're showing up being like, hi. But that just, once you're over that initial thing.
It's that, isn't it? Because Substack's still so, like, notes is still so new. So everyone's new, so you might look at it and think that, but we're all just still so new. We're all just like, new people will like respond to me if I do a note all the time. And I love that. I'm like, oh, who's that then? Like, and it feels really nice. I think notes is definitely that kind of party atmosphere where it's just a 24/7 round the world party of people talking in a beautiful way. And it is mostly other writers, so you've already got that in common, like you're already writing on Substack. There's not really any readers from what I can tell hanging out on notes yet, so it's other writers you're talking to, so it's like a writers party. It's really nice. I think with guest posts, the one thing that I've learned through doing them on Creatively Conscious and on Company of Two is that they do take quite a lot of time. And I think on Company of Two, Laura and I were like, well, there's the Google form and that's really easy and it's 3 questions. But one of the things that I want to do this year is like set out the expectation for, if we're sharing space in this way, I would really love somebody, who comes to be part of our space to share it in their space as well. So that might look like a cross post, that might look like sharing on notes, that might look like sharing on their social media. And we didn't set any of that up the first time, I guess because I didn't really think of it, and I also didn't really think to ask for it. And I don't know whether that was a self-worth thing or what it was, but I know when people did the guest post but then didn't feel part of our community. It's really hard to articulate, but it didn't feel great. You know, it was like, oh, we invited you to guest post, but then I didn't feel like that same reciprocal energy, you know, like, because it does take energy to set that up and to, you know, what it's like doing a post, but you're editing it, you're proofing it, you're obviously making it work with the subscribe buttons and the images and the page breaks. And I do feel like that energy exchange needs to be reciprocated. So I don't know what the line is or the few lines in terms of what we're doing here, but I think that you can set that out so that feels really good to you, so that you know what that's going to bring, and it'll feel really like a really rewarding partnership, if that makes sense.
More the collaboration.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And sometimes it's like you guest post for me, I'll guest post for you. But if they're just guest posting for you, just you being able to say, oh, it'd be great if you could share that on socials, you know, including notes, or if you want to cross post to your audience, if that feels good. Yeah, however that feels. But yeah, I would say just be gentle with all of it, because some of the shadowy side of, you know, comparison syndrome and like not feeling like we can do it, or whatever those feelings are, can come from those spaces, because they can be quite noisy, or there can be some really sophisticated thinkers and writers and award-winning people and top Substacks and all of this sort of stuff, and then you feel like, so you just do it on your terms and at the amount that feels comfortable to you, I'd say.
Okay, cool, thank you. Yeah, that's some good.
Did you want to ask something else, Charlie? Or...
Oh no,
are you sure?
The only other thing was just I sort of answered it in my head anyway. I was thinking about, because I haven't got any paid subscribers yet. I think I kind of asked this before, and I think the answer was just like, it's like where the tipping point of is like, do I just start doing threads for paid subscribers even though no one's subscribed yet? Or like, but the answer I was thinking is that maybe I just invite a few people, like some of my current mentoring clients. I could be like, have a month for free. I think because I don't have anyone in the space yet, maybe I just need to gift a few spaces to people so I can show up and start doing that work that I'll be doing for paid subscribers. If you know what I mean.
There's definitely something in that, in inviting, so that you feel like you're speaking to a group of people, because that's the vision, right? That you would be speaking to a group, whether that was 2 or 3 or 3,000, like it's a group of people. It's not a one-on-one thing. So to invite people in feels really generous. If it works with your business aims and objectives and it fits with your ecosystem, perfect. So you invite them in, and then you say to them, I'm going to try this for a month, 2 months, and I'm going to review it with you, and you can tell me and let me know. And that's like a nice energy exchange. But also you're not saying to yourself, right, I've launched paid now, this is it for like the rest of my life. You're saying, I'm going to have a go at this for a month or 2 months, whatever feels good. If somebody else pays in that time, then you can adjust how your thinking is around that. But it's that tipping point, isn't it? Because until you get more than 2, it's just like, does that work? And what is that? And of course, there can be like launch strategies. So I did a really big push in November, December, because I knew lots of people were online and people were in that kind of buy-in energy. So I did that push of like discounts and free trials and different things like that. And it felt fine to do, but I wouldn't want to do that every single month or even every single season. So if you want to give the launch like a push, and inviting people as part of that feels good, then do that. Remember what I said about coupons. So if you set the coupon up and they get into it through a coupon, it means that Substack has their card details and they're paid, and they're counted towards the paid subscriber numbers for the bestseller badge. If you're not interested in that, then you can just comp them. So you go into their physical email address profile and you just comp for however long. You could comp them and then turn off the paid option, so you really do get to just sit with them for a month and say, I really want to test this. And just kind of protect that energy for yourself, and then see where it runs to and where it goes.
Yeah, I think that's why I was thinking of almost like making it part of like people who are already in my circle, or my mentees who have either currently working with, or I've come to the end of my container with them. So it's like a nice add-on. So it's kind of people who are already sort of energetically have paid me and showing up for my work. And it's just like a kind of experimenting with, they're kind of already my people, right? But
and you know, if you've got access to voice note any of those people, either on Instagram or WhatsApp, just to sound them out and be like, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think? You'll get real clarity on how much, how long, what they want, you know, like that'll just spur you on a bit.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you. That's cool.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. Okay. Anyone else? We'll do one more. There's still a few people hanging out. So like, is everyone just listening? Just here? Does anyone want a question? It's all good.
Can I ask a logistical question?
For sure.
This is Vanessa, and I'm in my sick bed, so I will leave the video
Oh,
off.
Vanessa, I'm so
Apologies.
sorry. I hope you're okay.
I'm okay, thank you. I shall survive. So my logistical question is, somebody else on Substack interviewed me for her podcast and posted it as a joint post, which was lovely. And it showed, and she's done it with that's how she runs her Substack. So all of her interviewees who have accounts on Substack show up. It shows up as a post, like a joint post, basically.
Yeah.
And I've checked, and it does show up on other people's homepage, but for some reason mine isn't showing up on mine. And I've asked her if there's like some sort of setting, and she said, I don't know, because nobody has asked before. And I wondered if you knew or had run into that, where you sort of co-posted something, but it's only showing up on one person's.
Yeah, it seems a bit hit and miss, this, to be honest. So when Kat and I did our joint post, Substack Love, it wasn't showing up on hers, and then it was when I went on, it was for me. And I think that's exactly what you're saying, that for you, it's not on yours, but for her, I see it. So obviously I'm an audience member. I mean, even if you cross-post,
you're saying some people might be able to see it on mine. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. So I can see that it's there and that we've done a joint post together on hers and on mine. But I don't know why you wouldn't see it though. That's the weird thing, isn't it? Is it made a difference if you go on the app? Have you been on your app to have a look? Because I know with Company of Two, obviously that's a shared publication with Laura, and when I go on, I think I can see it on there. I think when I'm scrolling and stuff, I see it.
I don't see it on the app either.
No. It's curious, isn't it? If you cross-posted it to your subscribers, it would go in that email inbox, but not on the Substack website. So you've got that option. Like if it's that you just want your people to see it and know about it, you can cross-post it. So you would press the 3 dots next to the post, and then it will give you that option to cross-post. You could also make a post that like embeds it. So you would make the post, you would put yourself and the author of the podcast, and then you would make it really simple. You would just literally paste the URL and put like a line or two above that and just say, here it is. And so then they just go and head over to there. So then visually it would look similar to what they've posted, but it would be just telling your people go over and listen.
Yeah.
That'd be a workaround, I think.
It's just a bit of a glitch perhaps then, huh? Why
I think
it's not
so. It's just a bit strange, isn't it? It is a bit strange because and also it's not in anybody's feed, I don't think. I think this is the bit that isn't quite working. So when me and Kat did the post, like it's not in Kat's people's feed, but if they go on our website, they can see it's there. So it's like posted, but not sent, if that makes sense.
Alrighty. Thank you. That's helpful.
Let us know if you want to share the workaround, when you've got it, like just pop in the comments somewhere or something. Okay. So Emma's asking a question. Hi.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of course. Hi, Raj. How are you?
Hello. Good, thank you. Thank you so much for this space. I'm loving being
part
of it.
You're so welcome. We've had a lovely time this morning, haven't we? It's expansive.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I have a question that I'm kind of a little bit unsure about the best way to approach it. So my Substack is a creative one. So I'm an illustrator, designer, and artist. And what's quite common in similar Substacks to mine or other creative people on Substack often do regular Zoom live sessions as part of their subscription. I've opted not to have that as a regular monthly thing in my subscription because I know it's a bit too much for me to be able to commit to. I know that kind of monthly commitment is probably not realistic for me. But what I do want to do is offer the occasional workshop or sort of Zoom get together where there is a chance for everyone to be online and to sort of, whether it's work through a project or draw or whatever it might be. And I'm hoping for that to be something that's more collaborative with other creatives. So it's a nice way to kind of work with other creative people on Substack and get together and sort of share our communities and to invite new people into our spaces. The thing that I'm not sure of is more the actual kind of payment side of things. I'm a little bit confused about how best to sort of manage that, because if I've got people subscribing to me with a sort of knowing that these things are an add-on, and say, for example, I aim for 2 each quarter or even 1 each quarter, my thought was perhaps having a sort of a workshop once each quarter would be an additional pay as you go kind of thing. So perhaps it would be something which people would just, contribute a $5 or whatever they fancy to pay for that as an additional thing, as a way of inviting people who are not subscribed, but also people who are subscribed can still have access. And I guess what I'm confused about is how I can make that not feel like a grey area, because I wouldn't want people who are already paying me to feel like they then have to pay more to be on a live session. But then I also don't want to charge people for a cost of like regular Zooms when I know that's not what I'm able to deliver. And also when you're working in a collaboration with somebody else, and they may be bringing over people that are paying already for a subscription with the other creative, then I get very confused about how I could potentially like have clarity over that, because I don't necessarily want to offer it for nothing. But I don't want it to be this, oh, if you're signed up to that person, then it's free for you. But then how do you register? And how do you know who's paying and who's not paying? Do you know what I mean? And I just wondered whether you'd had any examples of kind of people collaborating where there was a cost involved and working out how to logistically handle that, and what possible approaches there could be.
There's
Sorry,
so
it felt very waffly,
that's not waffly at all. That's really, really helpful. I think that there are lots of ways into this work. So are you thinking that you'll paywall it and it's only people behind the paywall that can pay the additional, or will it be for everybody that can pay, like they can all pay and join? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it could be something for anyone and anyone who wants to take part, but does need to pay something. So it's not necessarily free unless they've been
where
gifted it.
it's serving your business model and not your paid subscribers, right? So as long as you're clear, this is part of my business, my paid subscribers are also part of my business, right? But you don't have to give them more, like you don't have to give them your whole business, do you? So there's one workaround that would be quite lovely to think about, which is a little collection of these types of videos. So say, over 2 years, you've got 4 videos, and when someone becomes a paid Substack subscriber, they can access those 4 videos. So there's a way to do that. You could also sell those on your website, right? Like it doesn't matter. You can sell them for £100 each, and your paid subscribers get them for free. Like it's completely up to you how you design that all up. I think that when we're collaborating with other people, like we have to just meet them where they're at as well. So the collaboration that I've got with Kat on Wednesday, we said we're just so open to having this conversation that it became a podcast conversation that we could invite people to for free. But at first we were like, is this a workshop? Are we charging people? What are we doing? Like we went all around the houses, but then it was like, no, it's an active service. Anyone can sign up, and then it's a podcast that then anybody gets, but they're going to have to wait. So the paid subscriber bit on Substack is that all of our paid subscribers get the video straight away. The live bit is that the live people get the Q&A, which isn't recorded, which means that people will feel much more comfortable to be really open and honest and vulnerable about how they're feeling about social media and what the barriers are. So there's different kind of access points and different points of value for all of the way that we've kind of set up our businesses. But it was business first. Well, it was service first, really, and then how do we make it fit within the business, and then how do we make it fit within Substack? So it's like running through that. And then with your paid subscribers, paid subscribers often need a reminder of what they get, because they can forget. Like, so you know, you sign up for something and you're like, oh, was it that? Was it the other? You just sometimes need to remind them, like, this is what you get here. So in my members survey that I've just done, people said that they wanted that. They wanted a reminder of what had gone out. They wanted it to make it a bit more clear. So when you put a paywall in, all a paid person sees is subscribed with a little tick. So oftentimes I'll put, okay, it's us paid subscribers now, because obviously paywalls are like all over the place in other people's spaces.
Yeah.
So just making it really clear, like, this is what you guys get. This is how I'm nurturing this space. This is where you can access the vault of videos or whatever it is that you want to do. But yeah, think about your business first and where you want it to fit in your business, I would say.
Yeah, okay. Thank you,
Does
Emma.
that
I just saw
help?
your message that you're co-hosting. Yeah, I think it's useful to understand
Yes, Emma,
the
thank
nature of the
you.
session and then work back for that. I think so. Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah, and
Thanks, thank
also
you, Kira.
I don't want to make judgments on anyone else's prices, but I will make a judgment on Substack as a whole. Paywalls are very cheap to access the value that we offer. Like, everybody has set these paywalls, these monthly amounts, like, so cheap, you know, so like cheap in the best way, but it's like, if we were offering that, like, what would that cost? Like, if I was doing this workshop outside of Substack, like, I have to ask myself, well, what would I charge for that? Like, what would that look like? I have to always know that, because otherwise, you know, I'm turning up for 2 hours for £5, aren't I? Like, or, you know, if I've got one subscriber or whatever.
And this is the thing. Absolutely. I mean, I comfortably pay, you know, £15 a month to certain creatives on Patreon, because Patreon kind of has established that that's a normal thing to pay, and it feels comfortable, and I know the value that I get, which is why I've been really hesitant to put on like monthly live sessions, because I think, well, my £6 a month, €6 a month isn't going to really be, you know, I'm not offering that much for, you know, so it's about, that's why I was thinking that what I feel comfortable with for what I'm charging each month is kind of encompassed in my paid subscription. But if I'm going to offer sort of direct workshops or anything like that, or live drawing sessions, I want that to be understood that it's over the top.
Yeah,
but it's
keep
just
that
this kind
consistent.
of and just working out how best to communicate that in a way
And you
that
could, you know,
feels fair.
you could do like a taster workshop that's shorter for everybody, or for all paid or whatever, just to try and sort of get people to understand what your practice and your process is. So you would be doing like 20 minutes or 30 minutes rather than the hour and a half or 2 hours. Over on Creatively Conscious, I've got 51 paid members, and anywhere between 3 and 5 people come to my seasonal classes. They're once a season, so only 4 a year. And I only get between 3 and 5 of the 50 odd people. Some people will watch the replays, but not all of them. A lot of people are there for the stuff that are paywall, which is the resources that already exist that I have given them access to. And then these behind the scenes of my business posts, like, people want to pay for that. So that's great. So sometimes, like, we need to do a little bit of this to try and figure out like how people want to be held and what people are expecting, because I think we think, oh, we have to offer XYZ, and they're thinking, don't give me any more things, I just want to read this specific thing. So
yeah, great, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's all good. I'm just going, I know there was a question in here. Okay, so Emma's saying, I started my Substack last September. Straight away I set up some comps for friends and family. It was a nice way to get people into the space and give me confidence to start the chat threads and host paid subscriber and drawing sessions without the worry it would just be me showing up. Yeah, gradually I've gained paid subscribers, so a mix of paid and comps. That's really lovely. Yeah, so that's in response to what we were chatting about with Charlie. And then for you, Raj, the session I'm co-hosting today is free for anyone to join live, but the replay is for paid subscribers only. Yeah, and that can give us a bit more of a comfort level as well in terms of how we're showing up, because it can be energetically a very expansive thing to just show up for the whole internet forever. You know what I mean? So we can think about that as well. So okay, I'll end on this one, but Amy's saying, could you explain the difference between chat and threads? a resource that explains it. Go and watch Sarah Fay, Writers at Work. So Substack Writers at Work, she's just last night put out a video on it, and it explains the difference between them all. Know the difference and know that you don't have to use any of them to be successful on Substack. Honestly, you do not have to go into any of those spaces. In a nutshell, Notes is your social media feed. Chat is like your WhatsApp chat with your subscribers. Threads are another form of email that just start with the word threads. And the idea is that you can ask a question in them, but they don't work that well. So that's my potted version. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you all so much for being here. I've got another post coming out really soon, which is about keeping our paid subscribers, holding our paid subscribers, and what it can all mean. So that's coming out soon. And I'll see you a bit later in the month where we're going to do another joyful growth session. But thanks for being here. I really appreciate you all, and see you all soon.